policies, and also important for festival programmers, I guess, and audiences everywhere. And there are several issues that correspond to that matching between the interest of audiovisual policies in Europe and festivals. One of them is things around education and film literacy. They are part of the main objectives of audiovisual policies a little bit everywhere nowadays. And Curtas, Vila, Conde, that I am in a way representing here as host of this panel, is no exception. So that's why we choose for this first part of this meeting today this subject. And I would like to thank Susana Costa Pereira from Creative Europe, the Portuguese desk, for her collaboration and help, support in these two panels. So I'll let her introduce a little bit more about this meeting, and later I'll introduce our guests as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. As Miguel said, I'm Susana Costa Pereira. I'm the head of the Creative Europe desk in Portugal, and many thanks to Curtas, Vila, Conde, all the team that helped us put together this panel. Many thanks to our guests and speakers who kindly sharing with us their expertise and knowledge on this subject. The conference is divided in two panels, actually. This conference called The Role of Festivals in Film Education and in Environmental Sustainability. So the conference is divided in two panels, as Miguel was saying this morning. We'll tackle the issue of film education, and from 2:30 on, we will tackle the issue of environmental sustainability. Before Miguel introduces the panel and we start with dealing with the subject, I also would like to thank my colleagues from the Creative Europe desk in Slovenia, who helped us put together this conference also. And one thing you can be thinking, why is the Creative Europe desk media in this case organizing such a conference? Well, I think that the subjects itself, the importance of the subjects are suffice for us to organize a conference. But as it the roles of festivals in this subject is crescently fundamental. So that you know, the festivals which are supported by media works, they have this namely on film education. So I think that when we look at festivals today, it is absolutely evident the fundamental role that they play in achieving the two main goals of media, which is transnational circulation of works, by the work that they do with professionals, with the sector, being a window to the sector, and also the role in developing audiences and in film education. So this is why we are organizing this panel, the first part of the conference. The second part of the conference, which will take place this afternoon, on sustainability, environmental sustainability mainly, also very connected to the program, because in every funding scheme, media obliges to present an environmental sustainability strategy in their work. So the media program is very committed to the goal of the Commission towards the greening of the industry. So this is why the Creative Europe is in Portugal and in Slovenia joined forces to organize this panel. And I will now give no further ado, I will give the floor again to Miguel so that he can introduce actually the panel. And it will be pretty informal. Each of the speakers will talk for a few minutes, and we will have a minute or two for one or two questions, those questions that need to be made immediately, otherwise they will not see the light of day. And at the end of the presentations, we'll have a longer period for Q&A also.
Thank you, Susanna. As Susanna said, this will be based before giving space to a couple of questions. This will be based on an introduction from each participant of their work and year-long activities or during the festival, and their experience in working with these issues of film animation and image literacy. So, in the order that of the interventions, we will have Malika Gott from Berlinale Generation, and followed by my colleague Mario Michel from Curtas, Vila, Conde, Laurent Crozet from Clermont-Ferrand Short Film Festival, Irina Raimundo from Indie Lisboa, more precisely Indie Junior, their section for children's films and activities. So maybe we should start with Melika.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I will give you a short introduction to how we approach film education in general at Generation, so I will not talk about a particular format. Maybe we'll have time later on to talk about that, and because that's always some kind of conceptual to talk about our approach, and an ideal world, I also brought a video about our children's and youth jury, which we'll watch afterwards to illustrate a little bit what I try to explain. And then in the end, maybe we have time to comment on what made us create a new position within the section management of Generation, which will focus more on film education, which will be my position on from the next festival edition on, with a change of section management. So I picked two premises that I think are essential to our work. One is kind of the tagline, which you also find on our website. We screen films for young audience and everyone else. And the other one is kind of an attitude to what we all often discover in the general discourse about cinema for young audience. The second premise is if we deal with young audiences if we deal with the audience of the future is now. So I will elaborate on that within my little presentation. So first of all, Generation, as some of you may know, is the section of the Berlin International Film Festival which opens the festival to an audience younger than 18 years of age, because otherwise this audience doesn't have access to the official film screenings, or most of the film screenings, due to age restrictions. Generation consists in two competitions: Generation K Pledge, where we select films that we recommend from 5 years and up, and then there is a competition, Generation 14 Plus, that we recommend, where we select films that we recommend for an audience of 14 years and up. In both competitions there are short films and feature films alike, a huge variety in forms and genres and cinematic language, but all films have in common that they are told through the eyes of the young protagonist, and in that way address our target audience directly. as we are part of the Berlinale as a whole, showcasing state-of-the-art international cinema, new films is at the heart of our work. So the program of each edition is always our starting point and point of reference, also for our approach to film education. So when we say we screen films that matter for young audience, it works on its own. So when we say we screen films for young audience and everyone else, it may seem flippant at the first glance, but it's also, it grabs one fundamental aspect of our work.
in between? What do you?
If there's a pressing question, we will, since we are a little bit behind on time, if there's a pressing question, we'll take it. Otherwise, we will maybe proceed. Okay. Okay. So we shall proceed. No, Maya.
It's my turn. Okay. I'd love to talk about something we do for years and years, which is called Anima, and it is related to the festival. Is what we do during all the year, working with children and young people from the children of preschool till the university. So, Curtas Interagens Cooperativa de Produção Cultural, our cooperative, was founded more than 2 decades ago, I believe in 1997. And it was founded by the team responsible for organizing Curtas Vila Conde at that time, called only International Short Film Festival. Now, today is an international film festival. And it has been developing a diversified activity in the areas of cinema, photography and visual arts, often dedicated to the development of new public, namely children and young people up to 18 years of age or even more. There is a constant pedagogical approach because short film, the focus of Curtas activity, configures an excellent territory for the emergence of younger talents in the creation of original cinematographic works correlated with the natural support of younger audience. On the other hand, among the members of the cooperative were always teaching professionals, as myself and Nuno. Miguel has been doing that also till 3 years ago, maybe.
5 or 6?
5 or 6. Already.
Time passes.
Yeah. Thus, the permanent concern with the education aspect of our organization became natural, starting from a knowledge, in fact, of teaching and learning practices, of the school dynamics and possible curricular and non-curricular interventions. We do often the workshops, and this kind of autonomous action corresponds to one of the fundamental points in Curtas' annual activity plan. These workshops are proposed and executed in schools of the region, involving the educational service team, which works with us along the year. And also groups of students, of course, and teachers, supported by a solid set of directors, artists, trainers, focused on the creative and technical process of cinema. All the trainers are professionals somehow related to cinema, especially to animation and documentary, or to correlated visual arts, including video art, installation, or photography. They are also connected to teaching, if not only by the curriculum, in similar actions as trainers or advisors of workshops. Curtas assumes that the school is eager for interventions by external cultural agents. The more informal ones. In this informal approach, audiovisual culture, all based on the codes that cinema has been developing throughout the history, is always present in the technological paraphernalia that children start using from an early age, and in developed countries is much more this than other countries, but in any case, even in Africa, I found some children learning how to do something with a mobile phone before even speaking his own language. It's true. There are no more generations of school-age young people who have not been born in an information and communication technological environment. So there are virtually no children who have not learned to press buttons to start a sequence of moving images even before they even start walking or talking. Therefore, the need for this kind of workshops and this kind of intervention in schools ends up meeting the need for the access to language decoding that goes even further than audio, scripto, visual, still present in the classroom. Knowing that communication based on moving images and all the internet-based technology is an important aid for students. Sorry. For students learning, especially in the awareness of their identity and the process of self-regulation. This kind of intervention in our traditional school becomes urgent, allowing them to have an active, creative, and participatory, interactive role with the surrounding world. They fulfill the goal of making teaching and learning more attractive, more engaging, and they're more fluent. Technologies in this case, those of cinema and audiovisual, may contribute to this investment of students in themselves, individually or collectively. Students give themselves by acquiring habits and replication of processes more than what they usually do not want. The methodology that we follow for these workshops is already very well known by some teachers around, and we insist in the same model every year because it has a kind of success, as we can see by the films we are showing now. This one was made this year, and it was by a class of students from Póvoa de Varzim, the nearby city. And it has a very good aspect, and I think it will be something that we can be proud of it, and maybe it will even distributed by agencia, I don't know. The first one we saw, it was a very good one, but not yet finished. It was the one made by Laura Gonçalves and Chá Ramírez, with a workshop of students of our secondary school, one of our secondary school in Vila do Conde. Yeah. And I think we'll see the next one, which is, I don't know if we will have time, but in any case, better to follow.
Yeah, there are. We have been watching some examples of some results of workshops that we've been doing lately, and yeah. Of course, there are more activities during the year, but this one is a significant one. Of course.
Yeah.
Any comments now? Any?
Well, I have some, but I have some questions for both of our speakers. But since we are, again, running a bit late, we would maybe skip that part unless there's some question from the audience. Okay, so thank you so much. Mario, for this presentation. I would ask Irina now to continue. And do you have a mic? You do.
Okay.
Thank
Hello,
you.
everyone. I'll have to use this because my English it's not so fluid as I want it to be, but I'll try my best with different things. Well, first of all, good morning. Thanks for the invitation to be here and share some ideas with you all. I represent the Lisboa Association, in the Junior in particularly that programs films and activities for children and young people. We organize 2 moments of programming for children during the year in a festival context. One in May, in the children's section of Indy Lisboa Film Festival, and the other in January in the Junior Porto International Children and Youth Film Festival. I would like to have okay. These are 2 images of Porto in your left and Lisboa in your right. So, a very quick list of what we do in educational terms. We organize film debates, conversations with filmmakers for schools, conferences for professionals who produce films for children or who may be interested in doing that. We organize sessions with comment on films, among other activities. I decided to bring to you some particular activities that are, I think, and hope, different, and for that reason might add some content to our reflection together today. My presentation will be divided into 2 aspects of the work we developed. Examples of artistic, playful, and educational activities that we do in festival context. I program a film festival, an educational project that we carry out through the year. We seek to create bridges, curiosity, and more knowledge about what the films we show inside the movie theater to as many spectators of the festival as possible. We know that not everyone can always see all the programming. And so these are examples of how we can create some curiosity for certain films or sessions by giving them more visibility, different from the usual communication channels like internet or... and at the same time, add knowledge, art, and of course, fun. First example, this was a focus on Norman McLaren work we did in 2019. We invited to work with us about a specific film, a Sherry Tale from Norman McLaren. We invited a local cultural association to work with us, this film. The association is called Casa das Brincadeiras, House of Playing, the name of the association. The first activity that was developed was a cooperative game that was installed in the foyer of our main venue at the time in the Junior Porto Rivoli Theatre. It was a game with the object of getting at least 4 children to sit the puppet in the chair that was in the middle of the foyer. An activity that was simultaneously a cooperation, fun, and curiosity about this important filmmaker. The second activity that we made with this Casa das Brincadeiras, it's still this one, sorry. The second activity we did with them was to develop around the same film a workshop for parents and children between 4 and 7 years old. What they had to do was to create a toy, a chair, and the toy or the chair, I don't know which one, I think it was the toy, I'm a little bit confused now, had an image that escaped from the doll, that's it. So just like in the McLaren's film, something playful, we could do something playful with this object. Each participant would start, of course, the workshop by seeing this great film. Another experience that I shared with you today, it's this one. We invited another partner, a local school called Osmop, a school with a very healthy tradition of work between art and education, to develop with us an artistic mediation work on the 7 short films that we programmed in this Being Little +3 short film session. You can see there the films that were in the session, in the bulletin de vote, I don't know where you can vote. So during the first period of the school year, each class saw, discussed, learned, and created, focusing on a specific film. They work with us, programmers, with music, dance, and plastic art teachers, as well as with their own teachers. The result was these 2 artistic objects that you can see in the other photo. This kind of a table sculpture and those photos over in the top of the sculpture. With that table sculpture had some windows, similar with the cheese piece of trivial game, that was divided in 7 parts, each one representing one of the 7 films that were represented in Being Little +3 short film session. One of these slices was based on a turbopera film, a very funny film about some fishes that sing opera in a fishmonger. As you can see, they work the image, but also the sound, and the child there that is looking at that small window and is hearing something. So the idea was that each film has something more to talk about and to explore. And so in each case, there was something to explore and to propose to the other spectators of the festival. The other program that I wanted to share with you is this one that you can see a lot of photos in. It's called I Program a Film Festival. It's an education project that we carry out through the year. We've been developing this activity since 2018 with Porto Municipal Theatre Rivoli as a partner. It consists in the elaboration of a cinema program entirely created by students. We'll see their choices integrated into the Indie Junior program, International Children's Film Festival. Our public target is a class of students +6 and their teacher, a class of students +10 and their teacher, a class of students +12 and 1 teacher, and a class of students +15 and 1 teacher. During around 8 to 12 moments of workshops, session, and classes, they will watch animated, fictional, and documentary films, hold practical and theoretical workshops on cinema, discuss, reflect, and decide 4 different programs, short sessions that will make part of the international competition. This activity is conducted by a member of our team in permanent contact with the teacher and students of the class. What we find most important of all is to promote a critical and creative look at the cinema through the viewing of such a vast and diverse set of films. The practical and theoretical workshops will be carried out in the schools involved by people invited from the film teaching institution, filmmakers, or other professionals in the field, with the aim of stimulating audiovisual literacy, teaching about film programming, and also teach how to make films. Of course, just a parallel here. for us as programmers, it's also been very, very important to do this because, like you were saying, Malika, in a way, we need to know, we need to be near our public to know what they want. So this is a very nice way of exchanging these experiences. Yes. So it is a transformative. As at the same time, it is a transformative experience for children, young people, and the teachers involved, who can see their work show for a public like them, see the possibility of a film chosen by them getting an award, as it happened last edition, experience and talk about this experience in public. Also talk and exchange ideas with some of the invited filmmakers that come to the festival. Just an example, once there was a filmmaker that had a documentary about a refugee camp in Lesbos, an island in Greece, and she came to the festival, and then in the end of the session, the students, I think they were plus 12 students, they were talking with the director, and she said like, oh, do you want to call the kid that we entered in the film? He's not living in Lesbos anymore. I don't know if it was Norway or something. So everyone, the students could talk with this kid, and it was really nice because in the documentary, especially, life goes on. So it's nice to know what happens after. So it was really, really nice. And this is just an example of what it can happen with this kind of educational program. But still, and I think we are very tuned with what you said, Malika. I think it's inside that room, the cinema, in the cinema room that we want everyone to be. Because maybe in that moment, maybe years later, something magic will occur. And this, when each individual gets to know that the cinema, it's a way of getting to know himself better and getting to comprehend better the others. And when that happens, I just put this here blue circles here because I was thinking maybe these kids had, oh, it was so nice to see this film. I don't know, how can I put to play this? I don't know if you can do that for me. Oops. Well, I don't know. Well, what happens is that each of us that work in the cinema area feel very happy, like a firework. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irina. I think that yeah, we won't be able to see the video, right? Okay, probably not. Okay. So thank you so much for that really very interesting exposure. Maybe we will continue now with Laurent if there's no questions from the audience at this point. Okay. So can we continue, Laurent? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you for inviting us to share experience and with our colleagues here. So I'm Laurent. I work with a not-for-profit cultural association based in Clermont-Ferrand in France. We're a team of 22 people who organize a short film festival in our city. And our organization is also, very active in film education. So I will really give a quick glimpse into what we do in terms of programming and activities during the festival, maybe around the year as well. And I will then focus on three specific examples that I found particularly interesting in relationship to the role of festivals and the environment they provide. So our association, Sauf qui peut le court-métrage, started in the late 70s. It works around 4 main interconnected missions, and where all activities benefit from one another, a bit like an ecosystem, a small ecosystem, and that goes from audience building with the festival at its heart and the circulation of films all year round in various formats and events. Knowledge building, which is where the film education activities get into action. Training and skills, as well as talent building in relation to the industry as well. Knowing that we are a short film festival, we also organize a short film market at the same time, so it's important as well to make this loop. And in this context, many activities involved film education. I will not go into the institutional backdrop with how it works in the French system especially, but two things are important, whatever, and I think they're important at large, is that we operate locally. We make a difference where we live, and there's a lot of groundwork involved in this around the year, and always in collaboration with other organizations. That means it's always taking people's needs, people's time frame, people's own agenda into account, into the activities that are developed. And of course, these are developed also with shared values as a festival, that there should be access to culture for all without barriers, openness and diversity and sustainability, of course, now in the loop as well. So in terms of programming films from young audiences, I did a little bit of research because I started working with the festival in the mid-90s, but I found traces back of the children program as early as the 1981 catalogue. So it started from the very beginning of the festival to this day. There is a children program that is free of charge and that can be attended as with friends, relatives, families, whatever. But over the years, there was also more structured offer and activities targeted to school groups. Of course, divided by age groups, also with the various grades in France. So the programming is based on 3 years old and over, 7 years old and over, 11 years old and over, and teenagers are 13 years old and over, roughly. And the idea is to have a variety, of course, in the films that are programmed. I think I completely agree with all that my colleague said, but of course to include a variety of topics, cultural backgrounds and styles as well, to create a rich experience and dialogue. Interestingly, the films in the 13+ section are selected from the official selections. So these are films that are also in the adult screenings, so there can also be this dialogue with other members of the audience. So there is a very strong link that has been developed over the years between young audiences and the festival, and this now represents 20% of total admissions of the festivals, it's like a festival within the festivals, basically. Activities during the festival, so the whole idea here is, yes, it's of course, it's about the future, but it's very much about the present. Like you said, Malika, it's about making a really great, intense, inspiring experience for the children, the young audience members, and those who take them to the festival, that play also a very active part in taking this step to attending the festivals. So we bring as many resources as we can for them to prepare their stay, to enrich their visit, and to engage in various activities. So there is a lot of supporting material that is published. There is a small kit for younger kids where they can design the poster of the films, or they will look at the poster, the actual poster of the film, and try to figure out which character is which, or they will see pairs of characters and that they will need to try and draw lines to associate them with one another so they can identify the style of the artist. There's a lot of playful, fun activities that they can engage in the film as extra material as well to get into this creative environment. And for teenagers, it's more like production material, like storyboards, scripts, research, notes of intentions, interviews with filmmakers already, something a bit more bringing them closer also to the filmmaking process and to understanding it, so they can develop a critical approach. And then there's various activities also offered that some groups can apply to. There's a poster design context that runs until June. Actually, the festival taking place in February for kids from 3 to 6. There are other examples I will give later on. There are also a lot of art exhibitions in the city in relation to the festival, so that these groups are invited to visit these exhibitions. And there's, of course, sessions where filmmakers meet school groups, which are very great for schools, but they are also very rich experiences for filmmakers. Usually they are very happy to do these sessions because it's a no-filter session as well. They get really direct, intense feedback on their work, and it's also very interesting for them, and it's also inspiring for them to get this kind of feedback. Round the year is a part that I will maybe skip a little. There's a lot to do. There's more film programming throughout the year on various themes. There's a lot of digital communication involved as a role to network with other activities locally as well. We're active beyond our own organization. We have Ciné en Herbe, that is kind of a spin-off festivals where teenagers come to our festivals and they pick films, they make their own programming, and they have their own festivals 2 months later. We invite the filmmakers back. They have one day so they can exchange with the filmmakers about the choices they made. And the second day, they show their own videos, their own films to the filmmakers, and they engage into a discussion about the choices they make. So it's a very nice examples. There's a lot of other examples we can discuss about year-round activities later on. Now, to get back to the festival experience, maybe Les Petits Ateliers, Moving Image for Preschool is our most recent initiative. It started with experiencing workshops with Centre Pompidou in Clermont-Ferrand during the festival in 2018. And it coincided with the city's policy towards young children. And we prototyped something in 2019 during the festival with a dedicated space for young children. And it's now taking place in Milleformes, a newly opened art initiation center in the city, by the city, for children aged 0 to 6. So it's an interesting place where the years of experience of the festival coincided with the political willingness and coincided with the partnership with the Centre Pompidou to create something new that didn't exist in France, a place to practice art for children under 6. And yeah, you can see images of examples of workshops with sand animation, playing with shadow and light, light painting, origami, pocket animation studio. There's a lot of optical toys as well can be used. There's a lot of, it's a very creative space for children and also for their family and for the adults or carers who come to take them. The Young Critic Awards is more for the 13 plus age group, started 24 years ago, and it extends from February to May. Its aim is also to reinforce the personal experience and to encourage a critical approach to film. There are different categories by age and by specialty, and critics can be sent as an article, as an audio in podcast format, or as a video. No. And this way, I guess we received over 600 film critics every year from teenagers. There's prizes, 15 prizes that are given with cameras, books, magazines, DVDs. And the winning Grand Prix are published on the Bref VOD platform that is handled by the French Short Film Agency, where the 13 Plus program is rerun for a week for free in March as well. And finally, to move on to the next step, for some 15 years now, we've had this place called L'Atelier, and it's a space where you can see how films are made. It's demonstrated by students, whereas they are hairdressing students or film school students. There's about 15 schools or institutions that are associated. 250 students take part in this. Of course, it's something they prepare like during half the year before they come. All the set designs are built by the design in schools of architecture, for instance. And it's a place where students can demonstrate their work, their skills, from building set design, from the film set, from 3D and visual effects, immersive and VR production, sound mixing, music for film, acting for the screen, animation, photography. But the whole point of this place is that high school students who come to the festivals to watch film, to maybe write a critique, attend art exhibitions, can also meet directly students without any intermediary. So they can discuss their maybe education path with them. And likewise, the students there can interact with the professionals, the young professionals attending the festival and the market to discuss their career path. So it's a place of interaction. To conclude, it's impossible to give a complete overview in such a short time, but the examples I mentioned, I want to stress out, only show really not even the tip of the iceberg, but really just the flag on the tip of the iceberg. It's what you see, it's what's good for communications, for our partners, but behind this, there's a lot of work with many players, with children, as you said, with filmmakers, with artists, with colleagues running these kind of activities all over the countries and locally, with teachers, with institutions, with partners, with other arts and culture organizations. And I think this energy sort of crystallizes at the time of the festival, and the festival generates action during the year, and the actions during the year generate participation to the festival. It again creates this kind of loop that shows how festivals have a very fertile ground for a rich array of activities involving film education for all ages, but serving purposes at many different levels. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. A very different, interesting experiences, but I think we can identify some common ground here. So we all create experiences for young audiences that are adequate to their age span, of course. I can also see that there's a lot of educating for image, but also through image, which is really very interesting. And another key factor that I identified that is common is the involvement of the community. So you have to involve the entire environment or ecosystem around the young audiences, so to be able to actually achieve something, because nothing's isolated. So thank you so much for this.
If I could add one important thing as well, I would say as a common thing that a festival only takes place during 1 or 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever, but there is this constant involvement with programming with schools and kids in year-long activities that are not only made during the festival. On the opposite, there's a big activity during the year that is not as mediatic as a festival, but is a constant work that I think it should be underlined here as well.
So we'll now take some questions from the audience, if there are any questions. Sim, vamos tentamos, sim.
Claro.
Bom dia. Para já dar os parabéns a todos os intervenientes e ao trabalho que desenvolvem nos diversos festivais. Estão indecisos.
First of all, to congratulate everyone for the experiences that you share and all the festivals.
Dizer que, como professora, parece-me que é fundamental, é imperioso, é urgente que o cinema esteja na escola e fora da escola, e eu conheço bem o trabalho da Animar, do INDI, a extensão do Porto, e parece-me que de facto, há aqui algumas variáveis que eu gostaria de partilhar. De forma espontânea.
Okay, so as a teacher, I feel that it's fundamental and inspiring and imperious that cinema is within the school and outside the school. And so, em inglês é mais rápido. Mais curto.
Claro. O que me parece é que se é possível estimular e é desejável e urgente estimular este desenvolvimento das competências através do cinema, não menos importante é estimular e desenvolver essas competências ou outras por parte do corpo docente, dos professores. Não é possível falarmos unilateralmente, não é? Esse é o primeiro dado. Esse é o primeiro dado. Ali o Miguel antecipou-se e já falou no trabalho sistemático que o Curtas faz com as escolas ao longo do ano. Eu gostaria de saber o que é que fazem os outros festivais, nomeadamente de Clermont e de Berlim, não é? Depois, gostava de perceber também... Eu tenho aqui várias por camadas.
So the first thing is understanding the possibility and the need to stimulate the competences in children, but it's also not less important to stimulate and to connect, and Miguel also referred, the work with the teachers. So knowing about the work that Curtas and Indy are doing, would like to, the question would be towards the Berlinale and Clément Ferrand. So what kind of work do you do if you do with the teachers, namely, and schools? During the year-long activities.
Some of this work was already there in the screen as well.
Yeah, I can start. So this is one of the formats that I didn't go into in the detail. We have a project that is called the Berlinale School Project. So we invite a group of teachers, normally about 50, but then with the pandemic we decided to cut it down to 25. They get access to the films that we screen because we know the entire program only like a month before the festival. And that we don't have the capacities, even though we know that schools need more time to prepare, we don't have the capacity to have it before. But they get access to the films beforehand, like this month before, and they can prepare something together with film educators, like experts in this field, to develop a project. And then they're gonna, for one film that they choose, and then they're gonna watch the film during the festival with their classes so that they have the whole festival experience, and then they work on it afterwards. And then they, we are cooperating with Vision Kino, which is a German-wide network for film education. And they put this project results on their website so that people who are interested in film education can take ideas from this work directly from the festival, from the films with the festival. But I think it's really important to stress that I don't know, but in Germany, to implement education through cinema in the school curriculum is really has something to do with the personal engagement of the individual teacher. So it's not part of the classes, and they need to have more support. That's what I think, to offer another kind of film education than just to use film to illustrate something in the. So this is something that we should work on in Germany, and that we try with giving access to another kind of experience during the festival.
Thank you. No, in our cases also, I'm not myself operating all those activities personally, but I see what my colleagues do, and I see at many different levels we intervene, depending if it's for very young children, primary school, secondary school, high school, or more. And it's very important, yeah, the involvement of the teachers themselves, or their institutions, or the headmaster. It's always super important. Of course, you need to have this kind of energy to make something possible. So all that you can do to help them in the process is important, because there's also some administrative tasks they need to perform. Like for our festival that is next February, the registrations are opened already 1 month ago for them to have time to organize everything with the colleagues, with the agenda, with transportation, and it's not like they can decide last minute, oh, let's go on Wednesday. So the more we can provide, the better it is. So we try to develop educational supporting material, like the examples I mentioned with them, also with the SP, which is the institution that is training teachers as well. They are involved in this. And around the year, we have also national programs that are like repeated every year, where there is a list of feature films, in this case, that are selected, and teachers can attend training sessions also on how to use these films in the classroom. Because sometimes, depending on the theme of the film, then it's not always super comfortable for them. With some topics, they don't feel they are super equipped to deal with. Or they don't know this type of cinema so much. So usually they're offered 2 days training sessions where they will watch the films, they have documentation beforehand, but they will have someone putting the film in context. If possible, they will have the filmmaker coming or someone involved in the creative team. And if needed, maybe a psychologist or someone who is in relation to the topic of the film who can help passing on and have them using the material they will need, whether they will be using this in a history class, in a language class, in a French class, or in a philosophy class, whatever. So they can also feel a bit more secure. And we, of course, organize everything from booking the print with the distributor, booking the cinema. We just take the names of the children and the dates they want to attend, and we take it from there as well. So there's a lot of coordination to make it as smooth as possible for them. These are a few examples.
I would like to say something about this too. In Indie Junior, we feel like that is the professors are the main thing. They are our friends. We are friends of each other because we really are working together to get the films to. And first of all, when we started to do this program, I program a film festival. We noticed, talking to the professors, that there were some tools that were not very near to them. For me, it's really difficult to speak in English fluid, but okay, I'll try my best. So we in contact with Plan Nacional das Artes, you know. I don't know if you know Plan Nacional das Artes.
Plano Nacional de Cinema, que é mais específico e terá mais a ver.
Yes, so we talk with the director that is also someone that is working a lot in the education, and we decided to make a program for professors, a formation program that you can look for it at Plan Nacional das Artes. It's been done online because of the pandemic times, but it's mainly this formação, this activity. It's to share with professors how they can program, how they can fill where they can reach for films that are in internet. There are a lot of places where you can find films that you want to work with in your class, maybe because you're a teacher of something, or maybe because you have a student that needs to talk about something that is more intimate. So, professor, it's a person that works with the students for everything, not just for what is it's the discipline. So cinema, it's a way of showing and talking about different subjects. And that formação does this. So it's just other things that we do in Indie Junior, more specific in the festival. It's we choose a film to talk about something like a debate, and we invite people, like you were saying, someone from a psychologist or something. It depends what the film talks about. We always invite a filmmaker, because we are talking first of all about cinema, but yes, secondly, we are talking about subjects that cinema brings. So that's it.
Year after year, we have found people to collaborate with us, but it's getting harder and harder to convince the schools to give special space and schedule to develop this kind of workshops that we do. And sometimes how to say, we have to be thankful to our colleagues that still want to work with us, because schools are too close to, and how to say, people don't want to change a thing there. And this kind of workshops are the contrary that they are used to do along the year, and to change schedules of the students and teachers is becoming harder and harder. Don't you agree, João? Ou seja, aquilo que eu estava a tentar referir é que cada vez mais estava a tentar referir que cada vez mais é mais difícil trabalhar com os professores que vão se juntando a nós e desenvolvendo essas experiências que nós gostamos tanto dos workshops, e tu és um dos professores que acaba por ser dos nossos colaboradores mais frequentes, mas que as escolas estão cada vez mais fechadas sobre si mesmas e que é cada vez mais difícil encontrar um espaço próprio para criar alternativas àquilo que são as rotinas comuns, ou seja, mudar um bocadinho os horários, mudar um bocado as rotinas dos professores, arranjar espaços dentro das próprias escolas, ver como é que as turmas trabalham num esquema alternativo é cada vez mais difícil e envolve uma mudança que as escolas estão cada vez menos abertas a.
What would it take to change this present, more difficult environment in schools?
And also, is it something connected to the pandemic, or this kind of
I'm not going to talk about the school. I was going to ask another question. So.
Anyone, João, would you like to say something? No? Aline.
Então, bom dia. Para responder ao Miquel, eu vou falar em português porque eu não domino o inglês. E o que eu quero dizer é que tem sido difícil, de facto. Tem-se feito um grande esforço. Temos atingido muitos objetivos e levado o cinema à escola. Nem sempre se fazem todos os esforços necessários, esforços em equipa, não é? Envolvendo mais docentes de diferentes áreas. No entanto, penso que, dado que já temos uma colaboração de alguns anos, continuo a pensar e acho que temos aqui uma boa oportunidade este ano, porque estão criadas as condições, julgamos, para prosseguir e aprofundar as relações entre a escola e as entidades que promovem o cinema numa vertente educativa. Pensamos que, perante tudo aquilo que é possível presenciar hoje de manhã, eu levo daqui muitas ideias para poder trabalhar com os meus colegas, com os meus alunos, e penso que, uma vez que também temos uma parceria com a Universidade Católica, num projeto chamado Insert, será um excelente arranque para este ano desenvolvermos então atividades de forma mais contínua e mais aprofundada na relação com a produção, não diria bem a produção cinematográfica, mas a produção de produto, digamos assim, da linguagem do cinema. Portanto, estamos bastante otimistas, e até por isso que estamos aqui mais docentes hoje, que interessamos bastante por estas questões, e esperamos, portanto, que seja um ano muito bom para trabalhar, quer com as curtas-metragens, que nos têm proporcionado, efetivamente, workshops e formações para com os nossos alunos. Relativamente aos professores, também ansiávamos que isto pudesse avançar para que os professores pudessem ter também alguma formação e poderem, portanto, desenvolver projetos com os nossos alunos.
Thank you so much, João.
Obrigado.
No, I was saying that I'm sorry that this has the language has suddenly switched to Portuguese, and yeah, I'm not very good. Can you do it because it was long and?
But I mean, the main idea was that this particular school, and we all thank you so much, is working and has. Managed to get the grounds to continue the work they're doing with the festival, and also with the Universidade Católica University, so that will allow them to continue, and there's more teachers here present because that work has been done in this particular school. But I mean, the thing is, that's the thing, you have to work with each school, as you were saying, Malika, and I think that's my question would be, and sometimes with each teacher, of course.
Can change a lot in the rest of the people working with him. We have to find somebody really interested, and afterwards try to get more teachers, and in that case we can also try to develop a kind of program to involve a group of teachers in a secondary school, for instance.
Laurent, do you have the same experience in France? No.
No, but yeah, it's true that I think a lot of the early audience of the festival, at least a good part of it, were actually teachers. So an interest in the festival, I would say, personally. And then it makes sense for them to connect this interest with their work. But I'm talking very early on in the early 80s, so it's a new generation, but it helped developing a network. But yes, it's very important. I know my colleagues know every school in the region in and out, and they know exactly who are the teachers who can actually, who is the person in the library who will actually get the message to the other teachers that now is the time to register and to apply. And it's very important because also they're under a lot of demands already. I mean, from the school, from the ministry, from parents, from children. It's not like it's the one thing they have to do. So again, yeah, you need to find the good circuit for information to circulate. But also because the festival has an important place in the cultural agenda, it's something that it brings also value to your work to be part of it. So I think it's also a question of putting value in the work that the adults and carers for children put into this. So it's good when it can be shown. When you do a film programming workshop, it's great if you can have a real session in the cinema where the children and the teachers can invite their family and friends to see the result. It really shows the outside world, and then it's not just locked in the classroom. Again, nobody knows, nobody sees, and it adds extra value to your work. So it's a motivation to get this made the next year, despite the complexities or the challenges.
So this demonstrates once again the importance of festivals in this work, because
Yes.
it's so connected with the community. Malika, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I would like to add something because earlier I said that we don't have the capacities to provide the program any earlier, and it's not like there are not enough people or we don't want to, but it's simply not in the logic of the festival, because we screen films that are brand new most of the time, that are not ready before January, and the festival is in February, so we can't do it. But I think that's the important aspect of it, and that's something that I talk a lot about with the teacher, for example, in the school project, that we have our logic of the festival, they have the logic of the school, and all the time that they need to prepare something, which we can't provide. We can't provide this time, so we need to navigate between this, and we have to have this dialogue, because again, it's at the heart of this whole thing that we do in Generation, it's that the audience under 18 can take part in the Berlinale as one of the biggest festivals, and that we have to have the dialogue how the expertise from the schools can come together with our expertise in the festival. And I think that would be interesting to look deeper into this connection that we have, and maybe the challenges and the barriers between schools and festivals, but to have the dialogue. And that's to conclude, that's also the reason why we decided, or why we are happy about, we're not decided, but the pandemic was kind of a burning lens to make us aware that it's not always about developing an audience or training an audience, but first and foremost, it's about creating these conditions, creating access. And that was really hard for us during the pandemic, to include the young audience with all the time that we need. We weren't allowed to have groups in the cinema. So how do we invite schools when we can't have groups, when we can't provide group tickets? And to have this not as an add-on to our program, but to consider all these thoughts from the beginning on. That's the reason why we decided to have this film education as really official part of the section management. So we won't re-invite the section or the profile, but we are showing that we care, and yeah, so that's the reason why.
Also ends the creating the position of the...
Yeah, so then now we have the position. So I'm doing what I do the project management, but with a focus on consolidating and strengthening the connection between young audience and the program.
Every festival is different, has a different vocation, and the activities that they manage within film education are different and have different targeted, different goal, but the challenges are the same, right? To be able to connect with someone, to be able to involve all the community in it. So yes, would you like to say something, or would you like to proceed? But there's another question there also.
Hello, thank you. Congratulations for all the initiatives you presented here. My question is, we talk a lot about the young generations and teachers and the other parts of the community, but what about parents? Do you have any film literacy education for parents? Because as a mother and also as a film producer and a script writer, I see that there's a lot, parents don't have film literacy even to choose what their children should or not watch. And I think this is very important, that parents have access to film literacy, to understand what their children is watching, because we are very concerned what our children eat, but not to what they see, and they're exposed to every kind of content in very early ages sometimes. And so I think maybe I would like to know if, as a festivals, you already have initiatives for parents, and if not, maybe why not involve parents in programming and giving them some film literacy for them to choose what is suitable or not for their children.
That's a nice question, because I think, at least for what we are doing, we don't do that much about this particular public. I think it because we do, of course, but mainly in the festival. I think that is because, and you are making me think about it, so thanks for the question. I think it's because it's not that easy to get a net, like with the schools or with the groups that are already, we all are parents, right? In a way, we all have kids. So what we do to try to connect a little bit with what is our program for families, it's the workshops in the festival normally, and mainly we have been doing that a lot. That is when we try to make something for kids. It's almost always with parents, because it's a way of they be together, because nowadays parents are always working, always let's not just take time of the family in the weekends, let's make things together. So we try to program workshops for families. What we do, it's to try to communicate well the programs that we have. We have a section in the festival that is for all family. We program films that we try that can be seen by different ages, like little children to young children that come to, sometimes parents have a kid with 15, a kid with 3, and of course, and I think this is important for teachers and for parents, it's for adults. The idea that the films that we program are good for everyone, that's the main thing. So if they are good, people want to go to places where they have good experiences. So if it's good, they'll come back, we hope. And I think that's the main idea. For the teachers, it's the same. If teachers are good in that activity, they want to do it again, I think. Don't you think? I think it's important to be happy when you are working. So if it's something that is good for you and it's good for your students, it's good for everyone. So what we as festival we have to try to do is make things in our proportion, because as you know, at least in Portugal, the festivals don't have that much means to do so much things, no? So we have to be realistic. We try to do our best where we can do our best.
Yeah, if I may add, it's a very interesting question, because I don't think we have any specific action targeted at empowering parents with film literacy. But I think that all the actions we do opens a space where the children or the teenagers or the young audiences become the teachers. They are the ones that will come back with this rich experience at home and will discuss it, will mention it, will produce material on their own, and their parents will actually learn from them. It kind of reverses the role, but it really empowers the young audience with the experience that they have. I was talking about the Critics Awards. We applied to Creative Europe as a network with Curtas, Brussels, for the European Short Film Awards, and I hope that if we get the funding, we can develop this kind of video contest awards on European films. That would be great also to develop this transnational aspect. But when you see the result as a parent, I think it also opens your eyes. And I think a lot of the children are also very tech savvy now. They're also very fluent with the language of images. And yeah, they bring a lot home. And also the parents, they tend to come to the festival to look for non-mainstream content. They're quite happy as well to show something else than TV cartoons or major blockbusters, but different kind of productions as well. And they see the difference, they see the value. Maybe they don't have a film literacy background, but at least they have this openness that it's something different that they're exposed to. And I'm sure the way also the young audience react to the films as a group and in the discussions, brings home an interesting conversation as well.
Let me just say something. just because of these sessions that I was talking about, it happened something really nice. It's that parents laughed a lot more than the children when they see these films. It's really, they are really, whoa, it's really nice.
Sorry, I would like to just to ask from you if you have a final brief comment, and if someone has a last question, this will really be the last. We're running out of time. Also because this space where we are has a lot more screenings and activities during the rest of the day, and yeah, people need some time also to test and to, so we, that's why these times and schedules need to be very strict.
So
sorry for that.
One quick question.
Dizer só o seguinte ali em relação, posso só dizer ali, não, mas eu depois então falo sobre a questão dos pais, que é importante. De uma forma mais ampla, não sei se quer traduzir, de uma forma mais ampla, interessa-me muito o antes do cinema e o pós ou com o cinema. O que eu quero dizer é que uma ação mais profunda levaria os miúdos, os alunos, a perceberem o que é que está antes do cinema, no pré-cinema. Eu sei que aqui o Curtas e a Animar trabalham essa dimensão, ainda agora publicaram uma caixa de brinquedos óticos dos filmes da Regina Pessoa, etc. Isso é importante. Depois dizer que com o filme são importantíssimas as atividades que permitem o desenvolvimento da criatividade e do pensamento crítico, mas se é o pensamento crítico, então, antes das atividades, há que pensar e há que valorizar a dimensão, eu chamo-lhe a dimensão filosófica do filme, do cinema.
Eu tenho que lhe pedir que faça a pergunta.
Sim. Eu queria saber, o que eu queria saber é se até que ponto exploram eu tenho um projeto que se chama Filosofia com Cinema para Crianças, não é? Essa exploração de descoberta, não só do filme, da linguagem cinematográfica, mas do filme como pretexto de descoberta de si, do aluno e da comunidade envolvente. Este sair do filme para si, para o outro e para a comunidade. Isso interessa-me muito.
Okay, so the question is around, we heard a lot about activities within the cinema, but the question is also about what about exploring the pre-cinema, so everything that it is before the cinema, and also the philosophical dimension of the cinema up. No, it's more.
Que descoberta, que dinâmica é que pode existir, e eu trabalho
It's a philosophical approach to after the film, what can we do with our own lives, with that experience, and that what we can learn from the film.
Is the question how we collect this information from?
If you do it,
yeah.
And how you do it.
So first of all, maybe that's also kind of an answer to what you were asking with the parents, and maybe also a final statement. I try to do everything at once. So we always, or most of the time, have a discussion right after the film with the audience, with an official moderator and the film team which is present. And this is always or often very important, especially for the parents. So we often have this reaction that the parents say, oh, this was a tough film, so we are known for tough films for young audience. And then they realize it helps so much that there is somebody else who is leading the conversation with the audience, with my child, for example, and my child is happy to have this conversation. So, and to experience this, that there is something happening after the experience of the movie, And for us, which is very important as well, is this questionnaires that I showed beforehand, which is not only to apply for the jury, but also a chance to just write down what you just saw and to give your opinion. So it's not about knowing something about film, but what you thought. And I don't know, I think your question is more like from the philosophical side, but to have something really practical. And we already also get these film questionnaires and the feedback from adults who write down, I don't apply for the jury, I'm too old, unfortunately, but I wanted to say that I cried during the film, or I don't know what. And I think, and maybe for my final words, I really like the idea that you mentioned, Laurent, about the loop that we are creating with a special festival framework. It's like a safe framework because we have this red line in the program, we have description about the program, and we have the conversation in the cinema. And what I take from this conversation is to take this energy that we are creating with the festival and to think about how we can keep this loop alive, maybe. So, I don't know, I tried.
Thank you.
Everybody knows that nowadays life imitates cinema. It's true. I can't imagine my own life without a certain aspect of lighting, lights, and camera action. So let's start. And now, yeah.
No, I think to conclude, maybe it's. I think this work is also. Maybe we take it for granted that it's essential and so on, but at this moment it's super important for cinemas because there's a real issue with the return of audiences in cinema. So yes, this work that is taking place and making the cinema experience special has a lot of value for cinema owners and for the what we call the industry at another level. On a more philosophical level, I would say the idea is really to create an environment. Again, every teacher or group or school might have their own agenda depending on what the subjects they've been working on and what they are teaching at this moment in the year. And it's about giving as much so they can take what they will need, or they can take the angle they will need. And I think in a personal journey also of the spectators, it has very much to do with timing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a film will find a deep resonance, maybe another one will just not be interesting. But I think with short films it's especially interesting because there's a variety. It's like a box of candies. There is always one that will hit a bit more deeper than the others, and that you will leave it or with a good love or some kind of emotions that you will need to do something with. And sometimes I'm amazed how like a 5-minute films can maybe not change life, but have some impact or stay with someone for years. And I think that, that's something that is has to be present in the way you give things.
Okay, I really need to close and first of all to thank everyone, especially of course Susanna, and give her the final 1 minute word.
What an honor. Thank you so much. No, thank you, all of you, for making this happen. And thank you to the team. Filipa Guimarães, I have to talk about her. She was the greatest. And thank you so much to our speakers. And we will be around, so if there are any other questions, we'll be here. And we will be back at 2:30 with the next panel on environmental sustainability. Thank you so much.